The time is now 7 p.m. Let's call to order the Narragansett Town Council meeting. Today is Monday, October 16th. Please stand for this Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next, we'll get to the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to accept and place on file the minutes from the October 2nd, 2023 regular meeting?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
All opposed? Okay. All right. Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech, with four yes, 0, and 1 abstention. And next, we have a motion to accept and place on file the minutes from the October 2nd, 2023 executive session meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
Abstain.
opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. 4 in favor, 1 abstention. Next, for announcement presentations, we have our town manager's update. Mr. Tierney.
Good evening, members of the council, public here, and or at home. Just a few updates for the week. The council had directed us, the town staff, to submit grant applications for the municipal technical assistance plan grants for public engagement and communication and infrastructure capacity assessment related to affordable housing. Those were submitted, and now we await a response. Regarding the Galilee, the Lighthouse Inn, this matter remains in litigation with the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management and PRI 10, Rakachani's group. The town is not a party to the lease and these or the agreements between these parties, and as such, there'll be no further comment from the town manager's office unless the information is released by counsel from Rhode Island DEM. The Citizens Police Academy. They did finish the second week. They had 19 participants, a good class. And also for the police department, we have 3 vacancies. 2 of them you'll see on this evening's agenda. And we encourage interested applicants to apply. Recently, we had an inquiry in the town about ballroom dancing that used to be held at the towers. So it stopped right around COVID, and we are going to just look into it and see if the parties that used to do it are still interested, or if anyone else is still, and we'll keep you updated. And if so, it would be run by Parks and Recreation, most likely. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And I'm actually attending the police academy, and it's been a great experience. Actually look forward to it every week, and got to meet our K-9 officer and his handler last week, and Napoleon was great. It was really great to see that. So next we'll move on to the public hearing decision. Actually, I'm sorry, open forum public comment. So this is an opportunity for the public to comment. And the comments of citizens addressing the council are neither adopted nor endorsed by the body, but heard as requested. And public comment will not be taken on matters involving open litigation. And the rules we have are to sign and to speak, and that sign-in sheet is the back of the chambers. When you come up, please state your name and address, and speak only on the topics not on the meeting agenda. And there's a 3-minute time limit per speaker subject matter. And please be orderly and respectful. Mr. Tierney, do we have anyone that signed up?
Madam President, there's one person signed up, Michelle.
Yes, please come up. Please state your name and address.
Michelle Cotronio, 267 Fenner Hill Road, Hope Valley, Rhode Island, 02832. I am actually calling, I wanted to question you on the 3 minimum students and how it's going to affect the town. And I really believe that you're going to get more rental homes. They're going to rent, so you're going to have more students. You're going to have more parking issues. I know when my house is a 5-bedroom which has now limited me, so I'm losing income, and I'm gonna be forced to charge more, which isn't really fair to the kids. And I think it's gonna affect the rent all the way around. Plus, I don't know, every neighborhood's different. You have some neighborhoods that are renting now that have smaller land and lots, and they're closer. Where my house is, it's more spread out. I talk to my neighbors, I have good conversations, they have my number, they can reach me anytime, and they have no problem with my students that I have in there now, or any for that matter. And I just think I think that you're now and everyone as one, and I think if you look at the setbacks and where the houses are located and you know, even with the summer rentals, if you have enough space and you don't have any complaints from the neighbors, I don't understand what the problem is. I think you're causing more problems. And also, if this 3-bedroom stays, are the houses that are 5-bedroom or whatever, 6, 7, 8, that the town gave permits to, are you gonna start giving them a discount on their taxes? Because I'm paying tax on a 5-bedroom, but I can't use it. So these are all other questions that I'm concerned and I wanna ask about.
Thank you. Thank you. No other members signing up? Okay.
Other signups.
Okay, so next we'll move on to consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Oops. Ms. Celeberto?
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. Can we speak on something that's on the consent agenda during public comment?
No.
No? So what, in the future, I would have to ask somebody pull it to speak on it?
The council members can pull it. We're not pulling anything as far as I know, unless a council member wants to pull anything.
No, I'll just send an email about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we'll move on to new business. Coming from the Police Department, we have a motion to approve the Police Department's request to hire 2 probationary patrol officers.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion from the council?
I just have one question for Jim. I know that in a previous meeting, the council approved an age increase for the candidates, and I'm just wondering for the probationary officers, how they fell in. Are they transfers or?
They haven't been selected yet.
Haven't been, okay.
They're in the process now. We have these 2 vacancies, and then the 3rd vacancy for the recruit that he was authorized to be hired, and he left the academy on day 4.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Anyone from the public? Ms. Celeberto?
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. We have 43 funded police officer positions in Narragansett, second highest per capita cost in the state. We have 14,500 people. If you just compare our town to South Kingston, that has 51 funded police officer positions, we're way above what one would think. For years, you weren't on the town council, but for years we heard that we have 10 extra police officers to deal with the rental issues. Now, this is $1 million bill. I don't have any problem with having 43 police officers, but I don't want to pay for somebody else's issues. If we have 10 officers for this reason, then I think that cost needs to be spread among the rental owners. I don't have rental issues because I don't rent my house. I just don't think that cost for these police officers is being apportioned properly. I haven't had a chance to do some numbers, but you could raise the rental registration fee to say maybe $500 a year per house. These houses are bringing in $30,000 to $60,000 a year. $500 is nothing. And at that $500 figure times 2734 that George Nonis said with the number of student rentals, You could waive the rental registration fee for every annual rental. And that's some motivation that they continue. Right now, Beechwood and Southwinds, as I've said before, they pay a per apartment rental registration fee. That's absurd. You could, like I say, waive every annual renter's fee, and it would be picked up by those people that are really cashing in, frankly. And I think that you have to move toward this. If you're going to keep this number of police officers, it's not really fair that the whole town pays for it. I think we have a lot of police officers. My husband thinks we don't have enough police officers. So, I mean, right in one household, we've got these differences. But he agrees that the cost is not being spread properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to comment? Dan?
I don't know, I read the nuisance report, and it's gone dramatically down, so I think our police officers have been doing a great job. So if, I think you gotta give them what they need, and if the townspeople are complaining so much about these rental houses, I guess that you need the extra people or whatever. I mean, I see the report, everything went down. I'm a little confused about everything. I don't think everything should be thrown at the property owner that has to rent. I mean, after all, the residents already get a discount on a homestead discount. If you start going after, how's that even possible? The property owners are paying enough taxes on their rentals, and everything's going up. And they're required, and everything, registrations, you can't put everything is up on it. So I think the police are doing a great job. And also, I think snowbirds that aren't even here shouldn't really be complaining. It should be the people that are around town. And I think, it should be more the townspeople.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? All right, we'll take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all
Aye.
opposed? Motion passed motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the Public Works Department, we have a motion to introduce, read, pass, and accept as a first reading a resolution amending the official list of parking restrictions and regulations in the town of Narragansett in accordance with the Narragansett Code of Ordinances for the installation of a van-accessible handicap parking space on Boone Street adjacent to 18 Kingstown Road.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council?
I have a,
Councilor Ferrandi?
if I could, Jim, I don't know if you could answer this or not, but is this, I know this is a Cool Beans there, correct? All right, and is there going to be a platform going from the sidewalk up to that, where there's not a stairway now, right on Boone Street? I did look at the pictures, but one of the engineering drawings, it doesn't have the streets that well.
I don't know if they're planning on doing that on the property. This is strictly the ordinance for the parking spot itself, because there was no space on that property where they could put a handicap accessible parking spot. But I would assume that is their plan, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would think they would, because that is part of, it looks like it's in the paperwork. I was just wondering if, how they're going to attempt what the process was. It would go on the sidewalk and then lift up from the sidewalk onto the platform.
Councilor
Where
Ferrandi,
you
this is just for the ordinance. It's not anything to do with how they're going to do it. So just going to vote on the ordinance.
All right.
Any comments from the public? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the Community Development Department, we have a motion to schedule a work session on October 23rd, 2023, with staff and members of the Planning Board to review the various regulatory provisions to be revised for compliance with the 2023 housing statutes adopted by the Rhode Island General Assembly. And this will be at 5 p.m. on October 23rd. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I just have a question.
Sure.
Heather. Is it for the planning board and the staff, or is it with the council as well? Because I don't see that.
It's a work session for the council.
Oh, on the 23rd?
Yeah, on the 23rd at 5 p.m. And that's an off money. This is usually when we would schedule any work sessions.
I don't think I can do that, but I can vote for it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the Parks and Recreation Department, we have a motion to approve the purchase and installation of black vinyl fencing at Sprague Park Baseball Field to be completed by R.A. DeFusco and Son, LLC, in the amount of $96,450, utilizing the State of Rhode Island Master Price Agreement.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council?
I just wanted, is this the end of this process now, when we do this? We've got all the fencing we need going forward? Okay. Thank you.
For this one.
Yeah, well, this
Yes.
park.
Okay. Any
For
other
Sprague
council?
Park.
Any other council members have questions? Anyone from the public? Ms. Celeberto?
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court, maybe it's my browser, but I can't pull up what the wage, the separation between the cost of the fencing and the cost to install it. Is that on your packet somewhere? Do you have two? Because when people bid, they're supposed to present the cost of the installation, and they have to pay prevailing wage to the people who are installing. And the only way you know that is if they present that as part of their bid. And there's been, seems to me, a lack of doing that lately. So I just can't seem to pull it out. I don't know if there's two pieces to this puzzle. It should be the cost of the fencing itself, and then the cost to install, how many man hours and how much per hour. Thank you.
I don't see that.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Any other comments? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the submission of 3 Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management Recreation Development grant applications prepared by the Parks and Recreation Department.
So moved.
Second?
Okay. This one I'll let our town manager go over this.
This grant program, the Outdoor Recreation Grant Program from DEM, this is they've changed it this year. You used to be able to just apply for the grants, put an application in for specific projects, and they would select which ones. This year, before submitting, the applicants are required to have a public forum for an opportunity for elected officials and the public to comment on the proposed projects before we submit them. So that's why the application itself is going before the council this evening. And the projects that they're selected as being presented to the council for consideration are ones that the staff thought were appropriate, and there's been a lot of chatter about them from different folks. So we did put in for the linear park in 2022 through the same grant program. It got struck down. So we decided to put a different proposal forward, but it's entirely up to the council how you choose to go forward with this.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the 3 grants, and I'll just quickly go over them. The first one is revitalization of the Dominic Cristofaro Playground Park to include new play structures, benches, shade canopies, and place safer material for heavy traffic areas and better ADA access with the approximate cost of $450,000. Then the next one is, and these are in no particular order, by the way, of preference. So the second one is a splash pad at 170 Clark Road, approximate cost $120,000. The next one is redevelopment of existing 4 pickleball courts at 170 Clark Road into 10 courts made from post-tension concrete, new fencing, addition of a shade pavilion, new walkway, restrooms, landscaping, and stairs leading to upper parking lots with the approximate cost of $675,000. The in-kind Narragansett DWP demolition of site and prep work would be an approximate savings of $30,000. So the funding source of this would be, if we do, so this is just an application for these grants, and there is a 20% match for these. And the funding would be made available if these are, if the grant money is received, and it'd be available for the fiscal year 24-25 Parks and Recreation Capital Improvement Account. So that's the process. So again, we're going to be, this agenda item is to approve just the submission of the three grant applications that I just described. So I'll open it up for any comments from the council.
Start with Jill.
Councilor Kopit?
I-
Oh, it's Councilor Lawler.
Yeah, I think Councilor Lawler
Yes,
first.
thank you, Eva. I am the council rep on the rec board right now, and we had a rec board meeting last week, and from that, I wanted to be able to comment on this motion. A few things. The rec board it takes its job and responsibility as incredibly important to them. They are an advisory to the council, which is why Jim stated that ultimately this decision is coming to the council for a vote. However, I did want to state a few things, and Jim, one, I want to just check with you. As far as an ad hoc committee for pickleball, it's my understanding that there currently is not an ad hoc, with a definition of an ad hoc being committee that is actually selected by a council for a specific task for a specific period of time. Has that occurred? I mean, I don't think it has.
No, it's an informal groups that have met with a
Okay.
variety of council members and members of the staff.
Okay.
And spoken here in the meetings.
So it's a very passionate group of people that really are trying to move to have pickleball in our town. I understand that. But there's a big difference between an ad hoc and a committee of passionate people. So I wanted to make that really clear to my colleagues, as many times we do hear this represented as an ad hoc. And I must say, I've heard the director say it as well, but I think it's out of her kindness, not wanting to correct the terminology from ad hoc for the group. So having said that, the rec board did meet and spoke about the 3 different projects as outlined by the town manager on 2 occasions. In both occasions, they voted to actually have the Cristofaro Park and the Splash Park go forward. Now, why would they do that? Why would they choose these 2 projects? The rec board over the last maybe about a year or so have really made a concerted effort to be able to provide pickleball for the town residents with our existing sites. So in a very short period of time, we went from 0 pickleball to 14 courts. And they've made some rec board working with the rec director, have made some really reasonable accommodations to the existing courts we had with an effort to try to keep the population satisfied with programming, but yet also an eye to the cost. So if I take a look at the 3 areas where we do have pickleball, the first one will be Clark Road, where the rec center is, where the rec board meets. The tennis courts there were eliminated, and they were made into 4 pickleball courts because each tennis court can actually house 2 pickleball courts. And then the basketball court was restriped, making a 5th court possible. So at Clark Road, we now have 5. At George C., both of the tennis courts were also restriped so they could accommodate 4 pickleball courts. And then there's also a basketball court that was restriped, so there's 5 there as well. At Cristofaro, the 2 tennis courts were relined to accommodate so we could have 4 courts. The rec department also asked the council to approve, which we did, a purchase for 6 pickleball nets that are actually movable. I believe, Michelle, the cost is about $6,000 or so for that. So we do have that available to move within George C. and with Cristofaro. So having said all this, I understand the desire for more pickleball. There's a lot of people here tonight to talk about pickleball. However, the rec board overwhelmingly believes that this grant, and the town manager said it and the council president reiterated, that this is a grant that we have not yet received, and it is for the potential for $400,000, and the council must buy in to the concept to be able to say we would be able to put in 20% toward whatever project they are. Now, the rec board also believes that if we ask for multiple projects, there is a chance that potentially the DEM may approve one and not others. And very much they wish to be able to approve projects and activities for young families in town. Our parks are in dire need to be able to be refurbished and increased in size, as well as a splash park. And the splash park, what the town will be looking to do with that is with the summer programs that we have, the summer camp that we have for the kids in town, to be able to have that. Splash Park, the rec board's been talking about for years. It also offers an opportunity for people who may be handicapped to be able to have water fun that can't necessarily go into the water. So for all of those reasons, the rec board unanimously twice voted to be able to have the town go after 2 of the grants, and that would be, again, for Cristofaro Park as well as the Splash Park. So thank you, Eva.
Thank you. Councilor Kopech, did you?
Yes. I have a couple of questions. First of all, I don't know if included in the Cristofaro Park upgrade, if there is, I didn't see it, so I was just curious if there's, consideration for a skate park, because I say that because twice now I've helped we always have 5th graders come here every year to do sort of mock town council, and the 2 that I went to, and what we do is we have all the kids come up and talk as if it was open forum, and they have to have a reason to come up, and the vast majority of them come up to talk about a skate park. So I don't think that it's included there, but I think it would really be important to consider that. So that's just one point. I concur with Jill. I think that, and I'm a little bit concerned that we didn't maybe go after the linear park again. I went back and reviewed the document that we got several years ago. It's a beautiful opportunity for lots of people, residents, tourists, guests, whoever, to really enjoy what we have literally across the street from the beach. And it also would help move forward, I think, the final piece of the bike path. So I would be more interested in that. I understand that there are a lot of folks here who play pickleball. I live 3 blocks from the George C. courts, and they were very full during the summer. But one of the differences is that I haven't really seen one person on those courts in the last 4 weeks. And the difference between that and the linear park is the linear park would be used throughout the year. I agree, we have 14 courts is a lot of courts to have. I think in a town the size of Narragansett, there's courts in South Kingstown, there's a brand new, inside court that was just opened in North Kingstown, and we have one here that's going to open. I think I've never seen too much actual data that says that we really need to have more than 14 courts. And so I'd really rather see that kind of information before making a determination. It's a significant expense. $675,000 is listed in here. And the grant isn't even that large. The other thing I wanted to just verify, Jim, maybe you can help me with this. I think I read that there's a total of $2 million across the state for the grants. Is that correct?
Not sure the exact amount, but it's very competitive.
So, right, and so it's competitive, and we're looking at, real quickly, about $1.1 or $1.2 million worth of stuff that we would like to get done. And I can't imagine that Narragansett will get that much of the share of the $2 million that's available. So we have to be careful about what we decide to go after for this funding. And my final statement, I just want to say that I do think that we need to take a look at how to improve the surface of the courts that are at Clark Road right now. I think that's an important point, and that we should take care of that. But I think we probably would have to do that in a different way. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Any other council members wishing to speak on this? Councilor Cecilia Bonanno?
So, I think Narragansett should offer a variety of things. The linear park, the councils in the past have talked about, I think that's a high priority. Skate park, our last council, we spoke of that. I think that's important. I was on the Park and Rec Board when we had meetings to expand pickleball, and I want to thank the director because we have, to Jill's point and Deb's point, we have expanded it throughout the town. I could support the three proposals tonight, I could, but I think that we have to consider some of the other projects as well, so I'm kind of on the fence on this. I mean, the linear park was the most important project we've talked about over the years, and the skate park we talked about for 2 years. The pickleball we've expanded, and I know they want some more courts, I would be happy with that. I think Narragansett should offer a variety of recreational opportunities, so it's hard to, pick which ones exactly, but linear park would be on the top of my list, skate park, some additional courts for the pickleball people, and I would be satisfied if everybody got a little something. Skate park, the pad, the water pad, when I was on the Park and Rec, adamantly against it. So, it's just a different time, but people were saying, they didn't want it at all. So it's hard. I think we should take a list, look at it, and then kind of comb down the list and get some consensus.
Do you have any comments?
Thank you,
Councilmember
Eva.
Borrego? Thanks.
Yeah, this is a tough one. You wish you could have everything, but the Cristofaro thing's been on the docket for quite a while. We have added some pickleball up to 14 courts. Obviously, there's a lot of people that want it. It doesn't seem like it's enough. I don't know if it's because it's site-specific where maybe more needs to go to one area or not. But, in the town, it's hard to pick and choose on where the playgrounds are. They're kind of spread all over town, so it's a little better if we have a little bit at each one rather than just, all pick a ball at one area and vice versa. So, all three are good proposals, but, the pickleball one at $675,000, that's what it says. That's a major project that's going to have to happen for that. And, maybe sometime in the future or whatever, but I just see this grant only being possibly only $2 million worth. I guess we should be asking for everything, but, if there's one that might not have to be put forward, it could for the pickleball, because we've kind of added some, although they're all admirable requests. That's how I feel.
Thank you. Okay, so last council, I did bring forward, I wanted to expand pickleball, and, it is the fastest growing sport, and it is for all ages. So when we talk about who it really benefits, it benefits everyone of all ages, like young and older, and I think it's a great activity. And I think when individuals are saying that they want, more courts, because it's, it's for, tournaments or, promotion of, travel. We hear about travel tourism, and it's like a big picture mentality. So I think when we have these grants, it's, to me, casting the net wide, and it's not, we don't know what we're going to get approved. So putting a lot of proposals out there, or grant proposals and requests, and then we don't know if we're going to get this. Again, this is just for us to approve, going after that grant for these purposes. I don't think there's a limit. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Tierney?
No, there's nothing preventing the council from requesting that we submit additional applications for other projects. This moved forward quickly because originally it was posted as a public hearing was required. And as you all know, that requires advance notice, publication. It would have been very tight to the deadline. But then this constitutes a public forum for discussion of these projects. So the council could, if they chose to request that we submit any additional grants applications, we could do that.
Right. So basically, the sky's the limit. It is. It's like, requesting, the valuation process and all. Again, it is It needed to be in a public forum. This does count as, the public portion of it. So to see, just the feedback from the public as well. So I know there's a lot of people that support, pickleball here. I know that there's a lot of individuals that support, some of the other, proposals, and some that may support some that are not on here. And that's what we're going to determine tonight as to which ones to move forward with.
Council President? Sure. It's past 7:30.
Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so I will be back to this agenda item, but right now we just have one quick item that we need to address. 7:30, the public hearing portion of the meeting. Thank you very much, Councilor Lawler. Okay, so we have a motion to schedule a public hearing on November 20th, 2023, on an application for the transfer of stock only for the Class B victualler alcoholic beverage license of New Dragon Incorporated, doing business as New Dragon, located at 80 Point Judith Road, Narragansett, Rhode Island, Assessor's Plat, Lot 324. And then the date, hold on one second.
November 20th?
Yeah, the date is November 20th.
Yeah. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, so getting back, that was the only agenda item we had to do. Okay, so I will open up the floor to the many individuals that are out here to probably speak on this agenda item. So, okay, I see Ms. Ciliberto's hand up.
Catherine Ciliberto, 48 Earls Court. Grant guidance. DEM was quite clear that they want to service cities and towns that pretty much don't have the money to provide these recreational services to their citizens. We put pickleball forward last year. It was rejected. But you seem to be missing something here. If they were to give us $400,000, we'd be on the hook for $80,000. And also the remainder of the cost. The total bill would be $325,000 that the Parks and Recreation has to come up with. Because if they approve this pickleball request for $400,000, that's the total bill Parks and Recreation will have to come up with. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the linear park, I don't know why that disappeared. That's really important. Conacha Farm's an historic area. I don't know why we're not trying to utilize it. I mean, I've seen linear parks. They're great. They're nice to sit at and read all the, they have those different billboards they put up, explaining the history and everything else. I think it would be great. I don't know why it's not on here, frankly. I would like to see this amended to remove the pickleball and add the linear court. Splash Park, I don't know, for the kids, I think they might like it. And as far as the playground equipment, it's kind of a big figure, because again, it's 20% we're committed to, although I guess Michelle can find the 90 grand, right, Michelle? But we're going to find the 325,000, because that's what you're talking about here. If they award the 400,000, we're on the hook for $325,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Alba.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace. So when this came up on the agenda, people started reaching out to me on the Our Town page and the Against Town Council Forum page. Mothers with kids said, why is there no survey? Why are we not asked? Why don't we have an input? We have an idea. We know what's best for our children. They want some set of skate park, some set of roller skating park. So I just, we have pickleball courts, fine. But I'm just saying, I think we should focus on the needs of families. This entire town council has discussed the importance of having families in our town. You know, we're placing more restrictions on rentals because we want to have more family-oriented environment to bring families into the community. So on that note, I think, you know, out of all due respect to Michelle, I think we should, you know, reach out to families and ask the moms and dads, you know, what they want for their children. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to comment? Oh. Please state your name and address.
So excuse me?
Please state your name and address.
Yeah, my name is Russell Fury. I live at 14 Sweet Fern Trailer in Narragansett. So, you know, I'm hearing that we have 14 courts in Narragansett, and that was a little bit about what I was going to speak about. But I think what we need to speak about and understand is that we only have 4 dedicated courts to pickleball. The Parks and Rec Department did a great job adding courts to other sites. George C. and Cristofaro, which is very nice. We're sharing those courts with basketball and tennis. Tennis needs their courts. They want to play on their courts. They don't want us on their courts. Basketball, the same thing. We've been playing for a long time. We have a lot of support here, pickleball players, and we need our own courts. We don't need just 4 dedicated courts. Everyone has dedicated courts now. So if I'm going to go play on a basketball court or a tennis court, it's a great thing, but if there are other people there, for example, I went to George C. last week, and I was going to play, and there was a tennis person on the courts, and he was practicing his forehand drives, and there were tennis balls everywhere. I can't say, you know, we'd like to go use over here to play pickleball. I mean, I could have, but, I mean, he's busy. He's got his thing going. We really need dedicated courts. So what we do is we play doubles pickleball, right, all of us. So that means there are 4 people on a court. We've got 16 people playing at clock. That's our real court. Even though it's really not a great sight to see, it's kind of an eyesore, but we play there, and we've got 4 people per each court. That's 16 people. If you have 4 people waiting for pickleball, you've got 20 people, it's great. You don't have to wait that long. It's a wonderful situation. If you have 8 people waiting, 24 people, now it gets a little bit different, but still it's great. In the summertime, from the beginning of May until the end of September, we have 40 to 50 people playing. Only 16 people can fit on those courts. We've got a court on the basketball court, a pickleball court, which Parks and Rec put there. Great job doing that. But the court is really dangerous. There are bumps, there are depressions. We ran a tournament there on August 12th of this year, a charity tournament. People in the tournament would not play there, would not play on that court. We put them on there one time. They would not play again on that court because it was dangerous. Right, so that 5th court, I wouldn't even count that as a court. Tennis needs their courts. Basketball needs their courts, and we need our courts. So we've been working, I'm on this committee that you talked about, and we've been working with an architect with Parks and Rec to see if this will all work out. 10 courts fit in there beautifully. The architect did some renderings. I'm not sure if you people have got a chance to see it. They're beautiful. These would be just a great thing for the town of Narragansett and our residents, to be able to play pickleball at clock on 10 courts that are just beautiful. I mean, I think the people of Narragansett, there's a lot of people that play pickleball. In this country, like you have already stated, there are 30 to 50 million people playing pickleball. 4 dedicated courts is very, very bad. You can't believe it. Narragansett's a great town. We've got 4 dedicated courts.
Thank you. Sorry,
my
your
3
time's up.
minutes?
Yeah, he gave you a little bit more than 3 because I forget to put the timer. Mr. Richard? Please state your name and address.
Stephen Richards, 91 Inez Street, Narragansett. Well, it's hard to put everything into 3 minutes, but let me see if I can make this clear. Pickleball courts that we have at Clark Road are in terrible condition. It's the most used sports facility in the town of Narragansett by far. We have 100 or more people every single day in the summer show up. Today, we had over 50 people show up today. These are obviously, the people who show up today, which are obviously seniors. I know that you support seniors, but is there something about our seniors that you don't want to support? It's only other seniors that you want to support? I'm saying to you is that these pickleball courts are not only good for the seniors, it's going to be a high school sport pretty soon. Where are they going to play? Those courts are impossible to play on. You can't get a sanctioned sport when you have a sport playing on other facilities, basketball courts or tennis courts, because the lines are very confusing, and people don't like doing that. It's not conducive. So it's going to be a high school sport. We don't have a facility here. We actually have a plan that actually makes some sense. Besides that, one of the more important parts is that everybody else is talking about facilities. The Narragansett Pickleball Committee is willing and has said, stipulated, that we'll put in $100,000 to help make this happen. Does anybody else want to put up $100,000 for any other thing? We're willing to put up a tremendous amount of time, effort, and money to make this thing happen. Those facilities at Narragansett draw people here. It's summer residents, people who come for vacation, people for businesses. You can't even, if you don't play it, you don't know it. But if you don't know it, you don't know what you're not talking about, because people do love to play pickleball, and they come here and they want to have a place to play. The people who come in the summer say, wow, these courts are horrible. How do you play on these courts? Because they're heaving, there's cracks all over the place, and you cannot repair that tar. The base is no good. The base is no good. And you can't put more than 3-4 pickleball courts on that existing facility. So we have to expand it a little bit. We don't have to expand it a tremendous amount, but we have to expand it. 10 courts will allow us to have summer leagues, will allow us to have people who can learn, and where you can have lessons, and you can actually have play at the same time. Right now, you can't do that. If you have a league, nobody else can play. If you have summer lessons, nobody else can play. So what else happens is just not enough. And those courts that are up in the other area are on other facilities. And that does not allow for things to happen the way the pickleball players and other people and the high school kids and the college kids are trying to do it. I know all my time is up.
Thank you. I'm sure there's other individuals, though. Ma'am, in the back, I don't know your name. Just state your name and address, please, when you come up.
Elaine Cardello. I live at 20 Narragansett Avenue, Unit 102. I also am a pickleball player, and I think if you look at our age demographic here, the pickleball courts are not ADA compliant. Whether we have Parkinson's or MS, or we play in a wheelchair, we have joint problems, the courts need to be looked at. So we can't just put them anywhere, like go to George C. Those courts also, we can't get on. We need to look at the courts, redo them, and make sure that they're ADA compliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on it? Gentleman in the back.
James Santos, Riverdale Drive, Narragansett. We're talking about today, I don't know if you realize this is the fastest growing sport in the world ever. So the courts you're talking about today, in a couple of years, are going to be so backed up, and it's going to be so much more expensive to build then than it is now. So all we can say is we're crowded now, and it's just starting. I mean, I don't know if they're doing it in Narragansett, but South Kingstown, their courts at Old Mountain Field, the gym classes are learning how to do pickleball. So, and it's going to happen in Narragansett soon, so all these courts that we have are going to slowly disappear because they're not going to turn over any more tennis courts for pickleball. Because tennis is still a big high school sport, so just think about the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I saw some other hands up. I just want to make sure, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. Randy Fetterman, 41 Kinney. I also was involved in putting together the budget for this proposal, and I just felt like I needed to clarify some of the numbers. The amount that we are asking for the grant is $320,000 of the 675, not 400. As Steve mentioned, we are committed to raise 100,000, and Parks and Rec has 150 in their capital this year and next year, according to what Michelle has told us. So we were very careful not to ask for the 420, because there's three amounts that you can ask for. It's, 420, 320, or like 240. And we didn't want to be greedy. We wanted to really be very specific in what we wanted to build and how we could fund it. So I just wanted to clarify that. And my understanding is that the state doesn't compare all the different proposals that a town would submit. They're looked at individually, so our proposal would not then weigh on the other two. My understanding from what I've read is that they're individually looked at, so there's really no downside in applying, because obviously we can't do it unless we get the money, but if we get the money, we will be committed to fundraising and helping with the design and construction of the courts that we all feel are very important. Thanks.
Thank you. Does anyone else wishing to speak, ma'am?
Hi, Nancy Richards, 91 Inez Street. One of the things that I don't think people realize is that pickleball is going down to a younger age all the time. We have 10-year-olds coming on the courts now with their parents in the afternoons to try to play. And we have a lot of college kids that are starting to show up. Obviously, they can only play on weekends, but there's a great need for pickleball, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'll go to the left.
I hope some council members are changing their mind as they're listening. No.
My name is Kylene Fiore from 14 Sweet Fern Trail. I'm here looking for your support for the pickleball project. It's a great social activity for seniors, for children, for families. It's a social event, it's a physical activity, it's a mental activity, and it would benefit the community of Narragansett tremendously to be able to support this. So I'm hoping that you'll support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman in the back.
John Rizzo, 329 Colonel John Gardner Road. I really think you have a duty to do this because it's the individual grants are open for anything, right? So one is not knocking the other one out, like the other woman said. So go for all of them and then decide if you get them what you have to do. Set the budget, make sure it's right, and then move on. I don't think we're trying to say that you have to go forward today with this. You're just going forward with a grant to get money from the state of Rhode Island. So I think it makes sense to do that.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Hey, MJ.
MJ Miniotti, 12 Pure Marketplace, and I work full-time selling a genetic test for prostate cancer, and on the side, teach pickleball because people want it. As somebody else mentioned, from very young age to very old, all ages in between, and it really, pickleball, while being the fastest growing sport, touches upon fitness, emotional and social, which is so needed. This all blew up. I mean, pickleball's been growing since '65, but it really started exploding during the COVID years and afterwards. So it is college kids, high school kids, the fastest growing segment is the 18 to 25-year-olds. But what you see at the courts in Narragansett and elsewhere throughout South County are people of all ages and families and couples. And the demand for court play, formalized play, leagues, clinics, lessons are 24/7. You know, it really, I hope you support this. We have a lot of support for even people who aren't here. So please support the growing. And even with this many, we're still going to be under court. There's just, the demand is growing that much. And we cannot rely, so like I rent out a local school, and you can't rely on just, you know, non-public courts. We need the public courts. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak before I go back to the council for comments? Okay. So I'm just going to do this just to show of hands. Who's here for pickleball? Thank you. Is there anyone else here that's for something else? Just, or, okay. Well, Dr. Alba. Sorry, it's limited to one time. If anyone else wants to speak on your behalf. Would you like to come up, ma'am? Okay, going once, going twice. Anyone else wishing to speak before I turn back to the council members? Okay, all right, so I'll come back to the council and ask for any other comments or discussion regarding the any of the grant proposals suggested. Anyone wants to make any changes? Anyone want to make any additions? Any comments? So I'll start with Councilor Kopech.
Well, the first question that I have is because the financial piece of this was questioned by one of the residents. In the data in the information that we have, it indicates an approximate cost of $675,000. And so that's not $325,000. So, and even with $100,000, if, from the pickleballers, that's not going to get us to $675,000. So I was curious, did I miss something here as far as the potential cost? And there's also a lot of things besides pickleball courts in this redevelopment process, which, I'm sure is part of the reason for the cost. It includes a shade pavilion, walkways, restrooms, landscaping, stairs. Would we not do those things? I mean, I'm just really baffled about the differential in the cost. That's the first thing I want to say.
So it'd come back to the council. So if we we put it out, whatever we get, and then it'd have to come back to the council for approval. So this is just this agenda items is simply stating that we're going to apply for this grant. We could apply for it and not get it, or we could get it and then it would have to come back as well. And then at that point,
but maybe we should scale it back a little bit if we're going to put this one through. I'm still a huge fan of the linear park. We talked to one of the last people who spoke about the benefits of pickleball in terms of recreation, in terms of emotional stability, all kinds of different elements. And if you had ever, probably you folks never saw the interesting document that was put together with regard to the linear park, and it has just the most remarkable opportunities to provide the same things. So to me, that it was there long before pickleball. It's a really great opportunity for the town, and I think that's important. One last thing I want to say with regard to the splash pad. I don't know if any of you have ever seen a splash pad, but they're the coolest things ever, I have to say.
Well, they were, but they weren't well-liked last.
I know, but I don't think people know what they are. And I had the opportunity to actually play around in one in Missoula, Montana, and it was just really spectacular. So just wanted to say that.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
good.
thank you. We can add to it, too. I would just add. Councilor Lawler?
So, Evan, you make a good point asking how many people are here for pickleball, but if we had asked the town families to come, they would have raised their hand to be here for playground. So I think that's a little bit not a fair thing to look at our audience and ask that, because they are not here to represent that component. I did hear Susan and Deb, and I do agree, the linear park, it was on last year, and it's not on here. So I would consider saying that, and I know it's not going to be popular here tonight, but to remove the pickleball, because we've put 14 courts in the very, not long ago, we have 14 courts. But I would put in, I'm sorry, if you could keep it down, I'm having a hard time with the speaking out there. I would like to take the pickleball out and put in the linear park along with the Cristofaro playground and the splash park to the proposal.
Thank you. Councilor Ferrandi? Do you have any comments or suggestions?
This is, I'd like to say we did add the 14, and do we know how many is going to be enough? I mean, they say 10 is going to be enough. Is that really going to be enough with the way it's growing? It may help. There has been other issues in town with the linear park and all, so, I can understand adding different ones on there besides.
Okay, excuse me, Councilor Cicely Banano?
I could support the proposal that's in front of us tonight from the Park and Rec Director. If there's not an appetite for that, I would certainly be interested in switching, having the linear park in there and taking out the splash pad, because that was one thing that people were talking about, the water and the issue. But tonight, I think the proposal in front of us with the one we have right now tonight, I could vote for it. I would be a yes on the package if I had anybody with me.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna comment too. These aren't what they were saying is that they're not dedicated to pickleball courts. That they're not dedicated to pickleball. Again, I'm going to say again that it is the fastest growing sport. I know everybody's been saying that, but it is a true statement. I think this is an opportunity to get grant funding to help us fund this project, because during the budget session, it was requested that we add this to the budget, and I had a comment from Mr. Richard to raise the taxes to get the money for the pickleball courts. But this is an opportunity for us to get funding, grant funding, and they are looking to raise money additionally as well. It's a great opportunity. I would just say that the linear park is also a great suggestion, and it had been put forth in the past. What I would see if anyone would entertain is just adding the linear park to as an additional request, and that would kind of satisfy the three that we have here. Obviously, there is a lot of interest in the pickleball. There's a lot of interest in the parks, the splash park. I've heard linear park, and I think that would be a great idea. So,
So you're saying yes to what we have in front of us, adding linear park
yes,
to the proposal in front of us? I think that's a great idea. I do, because then it satisfies some of what we talked about in the past, what we have presently, and what could be in the future. So
would somebody like to make a motion?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
So somebody has to make a me to add
No,
it?
I
or
just
to-
was going to
okay.
listen to what Deb had to say
Okay.
first.
Do you want to speak, Deb? Go ahead.
Sure.
Before we make a motion.
I definitely think we should add the linear park. And so I don't know what language we should use, but if we should, I'd like to amend this motion to include a grant proposal for the linear park with the DEM funding.
And I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
I'm in favor of the linear. I want to qualify. We're adding the linear park, but I'm not in favor of the pickleball. I would love to add the linear park to the project with the Cristofaro playground and the splash park.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table, so you're saying no to the motion, which is to all three and to add the linear park? So
Correct,
that's-
no.
Okay, so motion to amend to include the linear, would you like me to, so, I don't know, Janet, hold on, let's see.
So the motion on the table
The motion on the table is to amend,
to add the linear park.
yes, to amend to add the linear park.
To the existing motion.
To the existing motion.
Okay.
We have a motion made by Counselor Kopek, second by Counselor Lawler. Motion passes 3-2.
Counselor Kopek.
No, she made it, and I
Okay,
second.
I'm sorry.
Counselor
I knew
Kopek.
that. Okay, sorry about
And
that.
then we're going to vote.
Okay, the motion to amend was made by Counselor Kopek, and that was to add the linear park, second by Counselor Sicilian Bonanno, and the motion passes 3-2.
Well, we gotta vote.
So
Did we vote? I don't think we-
we
yeah.
did, okay, all right, we'll do it again. So the motion to amend to include the linear park, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
No. So, okay, so just as I said, motion by Counselor Kopek, seconded by Counselor Sicilian Bonanno. Motion passes 3-2. Next, we need to go back to the main motion as amended. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
I'm just going to abstain
No.
because I just think that
Well,
we don't have
it's-
the money. And
so we're, okay.
we're buckling to people here tonight. I'm
We
sorry.
got to finish the vote, though. We have
Okay, so three.
yes.
Okay, so motion passes 3 in favor, 1 opposed, and 1 abstention. Do you have that, Janet? Okay. All right, thank you.
I know. I know.
Okay, we'll just give it a second.
Taking a break, take it 5.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to continue the meeting. So next up, from the engineering department, we have a motion to approve, ratify, and confirm change order number 6 with E.W. Berman Incorporated for the Maury Luntjens Memorial Library renovation project.
Eva, can we wait till they leave? Just when you need the town sergeant, he's not here.
Want to take 5?
And then there were 4.
Okay, all right, so I'll get back to that motion, just, so from the engineering department, we have a motion to approve, ratify, and confirm change order number 6 with E.W. Berman Incorporated for the Maury Luntjens Memorial Library renovation project in the amount of $13,957.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, this is just to approve, ratify, and confirm. All in favor?
Can I just
Aye.
make sure that Jim's going to tell us that,
Yeah.
that we're in budget with this? They're not,
Yep.
no addition to the budget, no more money, not a penny more?
Well, as you know, the change orders, they fluctuate with things that are rejected. This one increased by $13,000, and there is funding available through the library donation account
Okay.
and the bond issuance.
So the taxpayer is not on the hook for it, there is money available?
We've got a few more months to go,
Okay.
and we will be preparing a more detailed report for the council, a breakdown of everything where it stands right now.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Jim,
you. This is just, sorry.
One question, Jim. If I'm looking at the net change by previously authorized change orders, the $177,000, the second line after the original sum, is that basically what's the over and above at this point?
Yes, but the
Can that be
funding
noticed?
the funding comes from different sources. The library donation account.
Right, but I mean, that's basically the amount that's over and above the contract at this point.
At this point.
Okay, that's fine. At least it's a ballpark. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the council? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next is a motion from the Engineering Department to award the bid for the purchase of large format printer, copier, scanner, and full-service maintenance contract for 1 year for engineering to the lowest bidder, Visual Edge IT, in the amount of $12,272.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next up from the town clerk's office, we have a motion to approve a victualler license and a holiday license for the Coffee Guy LLC, doing business as the Coffee Guy, Narragansett, located at 1004 Boston Neck Road, Unit Number 2, Narragansett, Rhode Island, subject to local and state regulations.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve a holiday license application from Michael LaPierre for Brightside Seafood Market LLC, doing business as Brightside Seafood Markets, located at 1014 Boston Neck Road, Narragansett, Rhode Island, subject to state and local regulations.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to confirm the appointment of Niles Roberts to the Pension Board as the municipal employee representative to fill an unexpired term ending on November 2nd, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to appoint / reappoint 3 individuals to the Conservation Commission Tree Board.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, so this, we have some names. I'm just going to go over this. So we've had some changes where we have an individual who no longer wishes to be considered for this board, which leaves us with the 3 individuals that we could just go ahead and appoint. So for requesting reappointment is Patricia Federico. She had max term served, and then we have Diane Boudreau, and we have Lawrence Vranka. So would anyone entertain just reappointing and appointing these as a slate?
Could we just explain something, because I think it might be confusing to the public? The requesting reappointment, Patricia Federico, has a max term. Typically, we cannot, I know that,
Oh, sure.
I know what we can do, but I think it
yeah, I
needs to
can
be
explain that.
explained.
Sure. Okay. So we have, so there's, normally when there's other applicants, we have a 2-term limit. So Ms. Federico did serve her max terms. However, it's permitted if there's no one else that's on the slate that would like to be on this council. We didn't have any other applicants. So that's why right now we can reappoint an individual who has max terms. So she was interested in reappointment. There's no other individuals. There's no other individuals requesting to be on this commission tree board. So that's the.
So who would the 3 then be?
So we have Patricia Federico, Diane Boudreau,
Yep.
and Lawrence Vranka.
Okay.
Hoagland is out.
Thomas Hoagland is.
Thomas Hoagland is out.
He's being served at the Land
Busy.
Conservancy Trust.
He's a little busy.
Oh, okay, I say his name, that's fine.
Yeah, I was also going to say, I wasn't quite sure if he'd wanted this rather than the Land Trust, and I'd be open to that. He wants to do Land
He's
Trust.
fine.
Okay, good.
No, he sent, there was an email that he withdrew his name from this. Would somebody like to make a motion, or would anybody like to make any changes?
So moved as it stands.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion with the council? Anyone from the public? I see Ms. Diliberto has her hand up.
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Hills Court. It took us a long time to finally follow the will of the people. 2012, they voted for term limits. Was it 2012? It was quite a while ago anyway. And I understand that there's nobody else, but I would rather see you hold off on it and maybe put something on the town website or the Facebook page or something that you're looking for candidates. I'd rather not, make exceptions. Thank you.
Thank you. It's not really an exception. I've actually tried to recruit for this board, and we've advertised. We've advertised at the beginning of the year. It's been on the website. It's been mentioned several times at our meetings, or at least a couple times during our town manager's report. And again, it's listed on the website. And there was an email for council members to reach out to anyone that they thought may be interested, and there isn't any interest. So for that reason, and I mean, I do respect the will of the people, but again, there's nobody, and this has been something that's been, I've seen this come before me for agenda setting, and I've actually, waited and waited to see if we could get more candidates or more applicants, and we haven't. So this is probably the third time that I've looked at this. So, but Ms. Taro's looking to speak.
And just to be clear, on the 2012 ballot, this was on there as part of the changes for boards and commissions. It was voted on by the electors of the town of Narragansett to allow an extra term, an additional term if there were no applicants available. That's now part of the charter.
Yes, so it's in here, in the cover sheet that we had, it says, if at the end of a board member's term a replacement cannot be found, the town council may appoint the board member for a single term. So that is part of the rules. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Kopik, seconded by Councilor Lawler. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, so next up on the agenda is a motion that the town council president reappoint up to 5 members to the Historic District Commission for terms to expire on January 1st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and this is a little bit different because this is part of the charter, the ordinance where the town council president appoints. So I would like to appoint member 1, Keith Lescarbo, Nancy Adams, member 3, Francis Figueroa, member 7, and move John Taberski, alternate, to full term, member 2. So you got that? Okay.
That was the motion. The motion gave the expiration, the full motion.
I'm sorry?
The motion was exactly what you stated.
Okay.
Keith Lescarbo, Nancy Adams, and Francis Figueroa, and John Tyberski as a full member for a term to expire on January 1, 2026.
Okay.
Do they all expire on the same day?
Yes.
That's a problem. Eva, can we amend this to stagger these a little bit? Because if you have 4 people going off at the same day, that's really difficult.
That's not, we can't do this at this meeting. This is just,
You can, you'd have to look at the board as a totality. There are 11 members on the board.
okay.
We should do that. It's not that hard to do, is it? I just think that if we don't
No, I
do
agree.
that,
It's fine, but I think we can always change amend it down the road.
can we?
I think when we look at,
This is going to be nasty if we don't keep. So I guess one of the points that I would make is that going forward, we need to make sure that we are looking at staggered terms, because if we don't do that, we're going to end up, 3 years from now or 6 years or whatever the heck it is, not us, but somebody, maybe us, not me. We really will need to do that, or else we could decimate, full committees and boards. It's really scary, I think.
okay, well, I want to move forward with it the way it is.
And just to clarify, there were no other applicants, correct? So as we had just stated, okay.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. I'm sorry, okay, Ms. Ciliberto, sorry about that.
Catherine Ciliberto, 48 Earls Court. Keith, of course. Nancy Adams had 4 absences. Figueroa had 3 absences. Tyberski had 4 absences. You're asking to reappoint people who've had multiple absences from meetings. Did you know that?
I do, and
But-
there's no other applicants, and
So
I've
we
tried
just-
to,
Oh, I see.
I've tried to recruit, if you would like to
How
join
about-
one of these boards?
I'm not a full-time resident, so I'm not here full-time, so that's why I never applied to a board. I'm not going to, be absent.
So then we won't have a board, so there's a choice of not having a board, or I'm sorry,
Because
yeah.
this is going out and everything else, and nobody wants to be on it, so it's just.
I've
you
asked.
wonder how
So it is a-
committed they are if they're so absent so often, but anyway, okay.
Thank you. Okay, so the last item is we are going to retire to executive session, and we have a motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A for the purpose of personnel to accept modifications to the employment agreement for the town manager pursuant to 42-46-5A1, and litigation to provide an update on existing and potential litigation matters pursuant to 42-46-5A2. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I'll do a roll call.
Deb Kopek, aye.
Jill Lawler, aye.
Eva Drzezinski, aye.
Stephen Ferrandi, aye.
Okay, motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. And we will be back after the executive session for the disclosure of executive session votes and adjournment. I mean, we have a quorum. Okay, we're all set. Okay. Okay, so we returned from executive session. The disclosure of executive session votes is as follows. We had a motion to continue the acceptance of modifications to the employment agreement for the town manager to the, is it November? What's the next meeting dates? Sorry.
November 6th.
To November 6th. Thank you. We'll have another executive session. Motion made by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passed 5-0. Then we had a motion to seal the October 16th executive session minutes. Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passed 5-0. Lastly, we had a motion to exit and reconvene in open session. Motion made by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passed 5-0. And lastly, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Adjourned.